The ultimatum. The transmission cut through every communication channel in the solar system at exactly 0600 hours Universal Time. Commander David Torres was reviewing supply reports at Mars Defense Station when every screen in the command center suddenly went black. Then an image appeared that would change humanity's destiny forever. The being on the screen was massive, standing at least 3 meters tall with 4 arms and skin that shimmered like liquid mercury. Its eyes glowed with an orange light that seemed to pierce through the camera itself. When it spoke, the voice was deep and resonant, translated instantly into every human language through technology that Earth scientists could barely comprehend. Primitive species of the third planet, the alien began, its tone carrying absolute authority. I am Archon Vector, herald of the galactic sovereignty. For 12,000 cycles, we have brought order to this galaxy. We have unified 700 civilizations under our banner. Today we extend this same opportunity to you. David felt his heart pounding as he watched the alien continue. Around him, his crew stood frozen, their faces reflecting the same mixture of shock and dread that he felt in his chest. You have 48 of your hours to signify complete surrender, Vector declared. Dismantle all military installations. Power down all defensive systems. Prepare to receive sovereignty occupation forces. Compliance will result in your integration as a protected species. Resistance will result in total extermination. The screen changed to show images of other worlds. Beautiful planets with sprawling cities and advanced civilizations. Then those same worlds burning, their surfaces scorched and lifeless. The message was clear and terrifying. We have already destroyed 17 species who chose defiance over wisdom, the Archon continued. Do not join them in oblivion. The sovereignty fleet will arrive at your home world in 48 hours. Your answer will determine your fate. The transmission ended as abruptly as it began, leaving the command center in stunned silence. David stared at the blank screen, his mind racing through impossible calculations. How could humanity possibly fight beings with technology centuries beyond their own? Sir, Lieutenant Chin spoke first, her voice barely steady. Earth Command is requesting immediate contact. So are the moon bases, the asteroid colonies, and every station between here and Jupiter. David took a deep breath, forcing himself to think clearly despite the fear threatening to overwhelm him. Open a secure channel to Earth Command. Priority Alpha Encryption. The face that appeared on his screen belonged to General Patricia Morrison, the highest-ranking officer in the United Earth Defense Force. Her expression was grim but determined. Commander Torres, she said without preamble. I assume you received the transmission. Yes, ma'am. What are our orders? Morrison's eyes hardened with resolve. Execute Protocol Nightfall. Full implementation across all human installations. No exceptions. David felt something shift in his chest. Protocol Nightfall. The contingency plan that had been developed in absolute secrecy over the past 30 years. A plan so classified that only the highest-ranking military officers even knew it existed. Understood, General. Initiating Nightfall protocols immediately. As the connection ended, David turned to his crew. They looked at him with expressions that mixed fear with desperate hope. He knew what they were thinking. How could any protocol save them from aliens who could destroy planets? All personnel listen carefully, David announced, his voice carrying the command authority he had earned over 20 years of service. What I'm about to tell you is classified at the highest level. For the past 3 decades, humanity has been preparing for exactly this scenario. He pulled up a new display on the main screen. It showed the solar system but with markers that none of his crew had ever seen before. Hundreds of them, scattered from Mercury to the Kuiper Belt. Every mining operation, every research station, every commercial facility we've built in the last 30 years had a secondary purpose, David explained. We've been building weapons. Not in shipyards where satellites could see them. Not on Earth where they could be detected. We built them inside asteroids disguised as mining equipment, hidden in places where no one would think to look. Lieutenant Chen's eyes widened with understanding. The Black Armada. The rumors were true. David nodded. The rumors were true. We have over 2,000 warships hidden throughout the solar system. Fighters built inside hollowed asteroids. Cruisers disguised as cargo haulers. Weapon platforms that look like scientific satellites. And they're all about to be activated. Across the solar system, the same scene was playing out at every human installation. On Europa's ice mining colony, workers who had spent years drilling for water suddenly received new orders. The massive drilling equipment transformed, revealing missile batteries that had been hidden inside industrial machinery. On Titan, atmospheric processors stopped their civilian work and began charging particle beam weapons that had been built into their foundations. In the asteroid belt, hundreds of mining ships that had been extracting or for decades suddenly changed course. Their cargo holds opened to reveal fighter craft that had been assembled in secret, piece by piece, over years of patient work. Crews that had trained as miners revealed their true expertise as combat pilots. Earth itself became a hive of coordinated activity. Every military base, every defense installation, every hidden bunker activated according to plans that had been rehearsed 1,000 times but never executed. Civilians watched in confusion as their governments declared states of emergency and began evacuating major cities. They didn't understand what was happening, but they trusted that their leaders had a plan. To the approaching sovereignty fleet it looked like chaos. Their sensors detected panicked transmissions, ships fleeing in random directions and power fluctuations that suggested failing infrastructure. Archon Vector watched from his flagship and felt satisfied. Another primitive species breaking under the weight of inevitable conquest. What he didn't see were the coded transmissions coordinating humanity's response. What his sensors couldn't detect were the thousands of hidden weapons coming online in perfect synchronization. What his experience couldn't prepare him for was the possibility that a species might actually be ready for this moment. David Torres stood in the command center of Mars Defense Station and watched the countdown clock. 46 hours until the sovereignty fleet arrived at Earth. 46 hours to complete the activation of every hidden asset humanity possessed. All stations report ready status, he ordered. The Black Armada launches in 45 hours. Let's show these aliens what happens when they threaten humanity's home. Around him, his crew worked with focused intensity. The fear was still there, but it was joined now by something stronger. Determination. Humanity had spent 30 years preparing for this moment. They had built an invisible armada in the darkness of space. They had trained in secret and planned for every contingency. The galactic sovereignty expected Earth to kneel. They were about to discover that some species don't kneel. Some species fight back. And some species had been preparing for war since the day they first looked at the stars and wondered what might be looking back. The countdown continued. The Black Armada waited in silence. And humanity prepared to deliver its answer.
The Black Armada strikes. The Galactic Sovereignty Fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system with the confidence of conquerors who had never known defeat. 40 massive warships, each one larger than Earth's biggest cities, moved in perfect formation toward the blue planet that hung in the darkness like a jewel waiting to be claimed. Archon Victor stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion, and observed the primitive world through sensors that could see across light years. His forearms gestured with satisfaction as reports flowed in from his subordinates. The human home world shows minimal activity, reported his tactical officer, a slender being with crystalline skin. Their military installations have powered down. We detect no weapons charging, no defensive formations. They appear to have accepted the inevitable. Victor's mandibles clicked in approval. As expected. 48 hours was sufficient time for them to recognize their hopeless position. Prepare occupation forces. We will establish control centers in their major population zones and begin integration protocols immediately. What the Archon didn't know was that every sensor reading his fleet received had been carefully crafted by human technology. The quiet Earth below was anything but defenseless. In command centers hidden deep underground, thousands of officers watched the alien fleets approach and waited for the signal that would change everything. Commander David Torres floated in zero gravity aboard the stealth ship Shadow Hawk, positioned among the asteroids of the belt between Mars and Jupiter. His vessel, like hundreds of others scattered throughout the solar system, had been running on minimal power for the past 12 hours. Though sovereignty sensors, it appeared to be nothing more than a piece of space debris. All Black Armada units, this is Nightfall Command. General Morrison's voice came through on the encrypted channel that connected every hidden human warship. The enemy fleet has entered the kill zone. All units are cleared to drop stealth protocols on my mark. Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for. Show them that humanity bows to no one. David's hands moved across his controls with practiced precision. Around him, his crew of 30 prepared for the battle they had trained for their entire careers. Engineer Sarah Kim checked the reactor output. Weapons Officer Marcus Cole armed the missile batteries that had been disguised as cargo containers. Pilot Rebecca Santos plotted attack vectors that would bring them screaming out of hiding directly into the enemy formation. All units, Morrison's voice cut through the tension. Execute nightfall. Execute nightfall. Execute nightfall. Across the solar system, the Black Armada revealed itself. What had appeared to be a dead asteroid near Jupiter suddenly erupted with engine fire as the battleship Thunder's rage powered up its systems. The massive vessel, built over 15 years inside a hollowed-out rock, launched from its concealment with weapons already charging. Its hull was scarred and pitted to look like natural space debris, but beneath that disguise was the most powerful warship humanity had ever constructed. Near Saturn, 3 destroyers that had been masquerading as scientific research stations dropped their false identities and accelerated toward the Sovereignty fleet. Their fusion drives blazed with blue fire as they reached speeds the aliens thought impossible for human technology. In Earth's orbit, orbital platforms that had appeared to be commercial satellites suddenly unfolded like mechanical flowers, revealing missile batteries and railguns that had been hidden in plain sight for decades. The stations had hosted thousands of civilian workers who never suspected that their workplace was actually a weapon of war. David's ship, Shadowhawk, launched from the asteroid belt along with 200 other fighters. They moved in perfect coordination, their trajectories calculated to bring them at the Sovereignty fleet from every angle simultaneously. The element of surprise was humanity's greatest weapon, and they intended to use it with devastating efficiency. On the bridge of Eternal Dominion, chaos erupted as Sovereignty sensors suddenly registered thousands of contacts that hadn't existed seconds before. Impossible! Victor roared, his forearms slamming against his command console. Where did these ships come from? Our scans showed no military presence. His tactical officer's crystalline form flickered with the colors of panic. Archon, we're detecting massive energy signatures throughout the system. Ships are appearing from everywhere. They were hiding inside asteroids, disguised as debris, masked by some kind of stealth technology we've never encountered. The first human strike hit 3 Sovereignty cruisers simultaneously. Railgun projectiles, accelerated to a fraction of light speed, punched through alien shields that had been designed to deflect energy weapons but had never been tested against solid matter moving at relativistic velocities. The cruisers shattered like glass, their advanced hulls unable to withstand the kinetic impact. All ships, evasive maneuvers. Victor commanded, but the Sovereignty fleet's elegant formations worked against them now. They had arranged themselves for intimidation, not combat, expecting no resistance. Human weapons found their targets with brutal efficiency. David Torres guided Shadowhawk through the battle space with precision that came from thousands of hours of simulation training. His fighter was small and fast, designed specifically to exploit the weaknesses that human intelligence had identified in Sovereignty technology over decades of observation. Targeting enemy command ship, Marcus announced from the weapons station. Firing solution locked. Fire all missiles, David ordered. Shadowhawk released a swarm of guided missiles that adjusted their courses mid-flight, learning from the enemy's defensive measures and adapting in real time. It was technology the Sovereignty had never encountered because they had never faced an enemy that prioritized adaptability over raw power. The missiles struck Eternal Dominion's shield generators, overwhelming them through sheer numbers rather than individual strength. When the shields failed, railgun rounds from other human ships found the exposed hull and tore through critical systems. Across the battle space, the pattern repeated. Human ships worked in coordinated groups, sharing targeting data through quantum-encrypted networks. They used tactics the Sovereignty had never seen because those tactics had been developed specifically for this battle. Fighters swarmed capital ships. Destroyers struck from unexpected angles. The massive battleships that had been hidden inside asteroids unleashed weapons that combined human innovation with 30 years of dedicated engineering. Near Earth's moon, the hidden lunar defense batteries revealed themselves. Massive railguns that had been built into the moon's surface itself, disguised as mining operations, began firing at Sovereignty ships attempting to reach Earth. Each shot carried the kinetic energy of a small nuclear weapon, and there were hundreds of batteries firing in synchronized volleys. Their tactics are too coordinated, Victor's tactical officer reported, his voice edged with something the Archon had never heard from his species before, fear. They're anticipating our maneuvers. It's as if they've studied us for years. They had. Every movement of sovereignty forces near human space had been monitored by deep space observation posts. Every battle they had fought against other species had been recorded and analyzed. Humanity had spent 3 decades learning how the sovereignty fought, and they had designed their entire military strategy to counter it. The battle raged for 6 hours. 70 ships, built for overwhelming weaker opponents through superior technology, found themselves outmaneuvered by an enemy that refused to fight fair. Human vessels used the asteroids as cover, striking and retreating in patterns that seemed random but were actually coordinated with mathematical precision. When sovereignty ships pursued, they found themselves in kill zones where multiple human vessels waited in ambush. General Morrison watched the battle unfold from Earth Command, her face illuminated by tactical displays showing the engagement across millions of kilometers of space. The casualties were heavy on both sides, but the trend was clear. The sovereignty fleet was breaking apart. "Ma'am, the enemy flagship is attempting to retreat," reported her tactical officer.
Morrison's voice was cold and hard. "All units target the flagship. Don't let it escape. I want them to carry our message back to their sovereignty." David Torres heard the order and smiled grimly. Shadow Hawk and 50 other fighters converged on Eternal Dominion, their weapons firing in continuous barrages. The massive alien ship, already damaged from earlier strikes, couldn't withstand the concentrated assault. "Archon, we must retreat," his tactical officer screamed. "We've lost 23 ships. The humans have weapons and tactics we cannot counter. This was supposed to be a simple occupation." Vector stared at the tactical display in disbelief. 700 civilizations had surrendered to the sovereignty. None had fought back like this. None had been prepared. None had turned their entire solar system into a weapon. "Signal full retreat," he finally commanded, the words tasting like poison. "Retreat to hyperspace coordinates. We will report this to the Council." The surviving sovereignty ships broke formation and fled, their elegant hulls scarred by human weapons. They had arrived with 40 warships. Only 17 escaped. As the alien fleet disappeared into hyperspace, a transmission went out from Earth on every frequency the sovereignty used. General Morrison's face appeared on the screen, her expression fierce and proud. "To the galactic sovereignty and any other species watching," she declared. "This is General Patricia Morrison of the United Earth Defense Force. You came to our home and demanded we kneel. You threatened us with extinction. You believed we were weak and unprepared. You were wrong. Earth does not kneel. Earth does not surrender. And Earth will never stop fighting for its freedom. If you come here seeking conquest, you will find only war. This is our message to the galaxy. Humanity stands ready. Approach at your own risk." David Torres guided Shadow Hawk back toward Mars Defense Station, his crew exhausted but triumphant. Through his viewport, he could see hundreds of other human ships doing the same, returning to bases that were no longer hidden. The secret was out now. The galaxy knew that Earth possessed military power far beyond what anyone had suspected. The Black Armada had struck its first blow. And across the stars, civilizations that had spent millennia under sovereignty rule received a message that changed everything. Resistance was possible. The humans had proven it. In the command center, Sarah Kim looked at David with eyes that shone with pride and relief. "Commander, did we really just defeat the galactic sovereignty?" David thought about the ships they had lost, the soldiers who wouldn't be coming home, and the certainty that this war was far from over. But he also thought about Earth, still blue and beautiful and free. "We showed them that some species don't give up without a fight," he replied. "And sometimes that's enough to change everything." The Black Armada remained on alert, scattered throughout the solar system. The battle was won, but the war had only just begun. Humanity had declared itself to the galaxy, and nothing would ever be the same.